Josh, I'm going to see the next one.
All right.
And, yeah, it was,
I believe we are live now. I'd like to call the January 21st regular school board meeting to order. To let everybody know, this is our yearly reorganization meeting. That's the purpose of me opening the meeting. So at this time, I'd like to ask everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to move into the 2021 organization. I'd like to open the floor for nominations for chairman of the Giles County School Board at this time, please.
I'll nominate Mr. Steele as chairman.
Got a nomination for Mr. Steele on the floor. Any other nominations? Not hearing any other nominations. Can I have a second to that nomination? Got a second on the floor. All those in favor of that, Mr. Steele being the chairman moving forward? I assume that.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, so congratulations, Mr. Steele. I'm going to turn it back over to you and let you proceed with vice chair
All right.
nominations.
Thank you, Dr. Arbogast. Appreciate the rest of the board members having the confidence in me for another year. At this time, we'll take nominations for vice chairman.
I nominate Mr. Douglas.
Any other nominations? A nomination and a second. All those in favor?
thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Bud.
Let's see, I think we wrestle with this each year. Next order of business is to choose a day of the week and time for our regular meetings. And
No, it has been third Thursday of the month at 4:30. And we've also, as you know, we've also added work sessions throughout the month as well as needed. So I don't know, I'm assuming you would want to continue the third Thursday as the regular monthly meeting.
as crazy as things are, we've certainly been flexible enough to move that around whenever we needed to and give public ample notice. So I think we can leave it there, as we all have things out of normal circumstances, we can move around. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes. Same time? All right. Do you need a vote on that, Dr. Arbogast?
Probably should, just to be clean.
Can we get a motion on that day of the week and time for regular meetings?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, appointment of clerk, deputy clerks. Get a suggestion for a clerk. Anybody know anybody
I think
might be
that
taking that on, right?
correct. I move that Amanda Tickle be appointed clerk.
I got a lot of people in here chomping at the bed for it, I don't know.
You got it.
Thanks.
We got a motion, we got a second?
Thanks.
A motion to second. All those in favor? This man is stuck with us again. Nobody listening on this board meeting call has any idea how much she does for us, so we sure appreciate you, man.
Most days.
Okay, we get a deputy clerk.
I think that's been made. And
I move that Dr. Arbogast be our deputy clerk.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? So if you're not around, Amanda, then Dr. Arbogast takes notes, is that?
Good notes.
Let's see.
Yeah.
And last, and certainly not least, Superintendent's Designee.
I would ask the board to approve Lisa Mustaine as my designee in the event I am not here, and she can sign whatever needs to be signed or whatever else needs to occur.
We're not gonna ask if she's okay with that, I just need a motion. and a
I'll
second.
make that.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second, all those in favor? Right.
And Mr. Steele, I will remind you, we just need to go back and approve the agenda since I skipped over that.
10-4. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Mr. Steele, I'd move to add that discussion we need to get on there about Nares Elementary and that project that we
Okay,
didn't get to.
I've got it on my list, Mr. Buckham,
where are we gonna have that?
under
Dr. Arbogast?
under my comments.
Under
if that's all right.
Superintendent's report?
Yes,
All
sir.
right,
Could I get a motion to,
I will draw that motion then since it's gonna be included in his comments and would move to approve the agenda.
okay, I don't think we have a second on that, so we're okay. So, we'll go ahead and get a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second that.
Motion second, all those in favor? Right. Next item on the agenda, public comments, and I do believe we have a young lady here that is going to MAC meet. I'm gonna let her, if you got anything at all you wanna present to the board, we'll let you get out of here when it works for you.
This will be short and sweet, but to begin, I've created a 45-minute PowerPoint presentation. I'm just kidding. Okay. Should I take this down or can I keep it up?
Whatever you do.
I'll just leave it. Okay, the only thing that I've heard in the last couple months is people are a little nervous about having to stick with their decision to either go back full virtual or be in person the 4 days and not being able to change that. First semester, it was kind of nice because we were able to kind of test the water and see how our classes were going to go. But now with the block, we are changing classes, and I think people are a little nervous about having to stick with their decision for classes that they haven't had yet. So some people have a harder time with, math or science classes if they have something like that this semester. I think that's just a little area of concern that I've heard kind of across the board. But other than that, it's been pretty good. But I'm sure that's something y'all have heard way too much recently. You're probably sick of hearing it, so I'm sorry. But that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's been really smooth, and I think everybody's excited to go back. I am. So thank y'all. Thank you.
So, Madison, you
Yeah.
got to start back your MAC this week.
Yes, we did, and it went really well. We play Floyd tonight. I'm not sure who Giles plays tonight, but they start at 6 every evening, and they are virtual, which is a little bit different. But I mean, we're just, I think, glad to have some form of normalcy this year.
And you won both matches, correct?
We are, yes, sir. We started out in the library, kind of at the separate little pods of computers, but we've moved to a table where we spread out and have our masks on. So it's worked out pretty well considering that it's virtual. Can't really complain. But we froze up the other night, but we still won, so it was okay. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Was it cold or did you just freeze up?
We just froze up. I don't know what happened with our internet, but it was back family, so they understood. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Madison.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, we, keep taking action on the 2021-22 budget, Dr. Arbogast.
We need to have, I think we need to have open up a public hearing just to see if there's any public comments on the 21-22 budget, and then close the public hearing just to make sure that we take care of things.
All right, can I get a motion to open the public hearing for the 2021-22 budget?
So moved.
Second.
The motion is second, any discussion? All those in favor? Public hearing is now open.
And we advertised, it was actually advertised for November, I think for December, and we weren't able to hold it. That's why we postponed it till today, because we had to hold our December board meeting virtually due to weather, et cetera. But we have not received, to my knowledge, any comments from the public about the upcoming budget. I know we already held our meetings at the schools back in October, so we have information from the schools and staff and administration there. So we will keep that in mind as well for during the budget process.
And for those listening that do not understand that process, as Dr. Arbogast mentioned, we spend an enormous amount of time visiting each school, talking to administration and leadership from each of those schools, even down to cafeteria and nurses, every part of our operational program that is needed to run this school system. We get their input, and we will spend the next couple of weeks and months pouring over all those requests and figure out how in the world we say no to the ones we have to say no to and do the best we can to fund as many as we can. So a lot of those meetings will probably be open, their work sessions are open. Folks that want to make sure we're being above board and you know what we're doing, keep an eye out for those, and we have nothing to hide. So times are tough, and if you got some ideas, we'll take them. So, all right, hearing no comments at this time, I get a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
A motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor? Public hearing is closed. All right, the next agenda item is approval of the consent items by single board vote, which include the meeting minutes, financial data, and confirmation of surplus items. Can you get a motion to approve the consent items?
Make a motion, approve the consent items.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Then the consent items are approved. Dr. Arbogast, I'll turn it over to you for your superintendent's report.
Thanks, sir. Couple items I need to ask the board to confirm at this time. I need to ask the board to confirm employment of Amanda Brooks, Nares Elementary Middle School teacher assistant, effective January 19th, 2021.
I'll make that motion to approve Ms. Brooks for the 2021 year.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Need to ask the board to approve the following athletic contracts. Mandy Havens, Giles High School varsity assistant girls basketball.
Make a motion, we approve Ms. Havens for assistant at Giles High School.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
And I need to ask the board to approve the following RFP 8-2020 for WAN internet line for the Giles County Tech Center. Bids were received from 3 separate companies, Pemtel, Shentel, and Suddenlink. So I'd ask the board to approve that RFP, awarding it to Pemtel.
Make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? So Dr. Arbogast, this is what we pay for bandwidth that we have?
No, this is the line going into the tech center, one gigabit per second line.
Okay. Do you know if that's more or less than last year? I'm just curious. Pemtel's been pretty good to us.
Off the top of my head, I do not know, but they are a very good partner.
And I'm glad to keep it right here in the county, so that's good stuff. Okay, all those in favor?
As you know, we work with or partner with Virginia School Board Association in regards to our policies, and each year I have to ask the board to approve the policy services agreement, which allows us to continue to receive updates to our policy manual, new policies, et cetera, and have access to those. So at this time, I would ask the board to approve that updated service agreement for 1 year with option to renew at the same price through January 31st of 2024.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
And I'll hold my comments that I have several of till the end, Mr. Steele, if that's okay.
Yes, sir. Anybody have anything that they want to jump out with, or I can start with Mr. Buckland? I think I started with Mr. Pennington last month.
Just very pleased that we've got the kids back, 4 through 7. Excited about getting the kids back, 8 through 12. Just wish everybody would, in the community, try to help mitigate what we're facing, help us keep the schools open. I want to thank the teachers again and the administration and staff, everybody that's been keeping us going. I know it's out there in the community, but we're trying to provide a safe environment for our kids. It is a good thing to be able to see. Very happy to see that both schools have been able to at least get some basketball games under their belts. I think that's been good things to hear from folks in the community about that. And, at one time I didn't know that we'd be able to get any, but the fact that we've been able to get the ones we have has been a good thing. That's all I've got.
Mark?
As a public record, I just want to go on it and say I'm opposed to starting back on Monday for 8th through 12th. Hope the Virginia leader, any other media will say that for me. I just don't think it's right. The number's spiking. I've said that numerous times. I know we've got to get them back. This is not the time. I think getting these booster shots makes more sense. This is common sense issue for me, and it's been recommended by our superintendent. We do this, but we didn't follow up with that, so that's one of the records stating that. I do want to say something though. In all of fair education, there's probably teachers that have affected us. We could remember back, and I don't have the greatest memory, but thinking back in the early 80s, there's been a few that I just stick out in my mind. Karen Yolton, maybe one of them, that has a lasting impression on somebody. Or a Larry Marion, through music, and I can go on and on. But these teachers I've thought about them many times, and a couple of them are not with us, and there's been so many, even in elementary. Miss Brotherton, and I think about, the impact they had on my life, and it's going on in our schools today. And we've had a young man this week, Michael Short, who was a young man who had a lot of disabilities, but there was something infectious about this young man that, you see him and his smile, and everybody was drawn to him, students, everybody made contact with. And I spoke to Mr. John Miller, who taught him homebound. I met with him a few days ago, and it was a very emotional meeting. We talk about the impact that teachers have on us, but we don't talk about the impact that students have on their teachers. But you could tell the impact that this young man had on Mr. Miller. That's what it's all about, and he told me that with Michael that, he taught him for 5 years, And he could see that something was going on when he'd come and visit him. And the family admired Mr. Miller so much, and there was a connection there. And, you know, we've got a young man, Nate Strong, you know, who's in the hospital right now. Our prayers and thoughts with that. For him and his family is going through a lot of problems right now. And it's the same thing. The teachers have made an impact on this young man, but this young man's got an own infectious personality and affected this teacher, this school, and many teachers in this school. And I tell you, that's what, you know, I think that's what it's all about, you know, and that's why I want to strive to do what I can for these people in these buildings, these administrators, these teachers, these students, and I think that's what we need to do as a school board. And that's why I admire them, what they do, and I'm going to fight and continue to fight for our educators. Thank you.
I kind of want to go back on what Jason talked about, getting our 4 through 7 back this week, and I know that Terry and Lisa have worked so hard working out the buses and everything, and I just really want to thank those principals. You know, this week I know it's been tough on them, and I really appreciate them. And next week we have it's administrators, principals appreciation. So right now I just want to actually thank all of them ahead of time because we won't be here next week. So thank you guys for everything that you've done, that you've keeping these buildings going, and I know your work is a tremendous workload right now. But I just want to thank you, and I really appreciate it. And I also want to say thanks that both of our high schools have got their MAC teams up and running and doing very good. So it's exciting to see that our kids are getting to do some stuff. So I appreciate that. I know it's been a lot of work with these sporting events, trying to social distance and making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. So again, a shout out to all those involved with making things back to normal for our kids. Thank you.
You done?
I'm done.
That's short and sweet.
I know.
First of all, I'd like to thank Miss Lily for taking time out of her busy schedule to come up today and
Thank you
talk
for
to us.
having me.
Of course, like always, thank Dr. Orgas, Miss Mustang, and little Miss Amanda for everything that you do. It's hard enough to do your job when we don't have a pandemic, but you do an amazing job. Along with our teachers, our bus drivers, everybody that's associated with the school system has done an amazing job. I told Miss Mustang yesterday, I talked to her on the phone and said, thank you's not enough. We really appreciate what you've done and what you're going to do to keep our kids in school and hopefully bring back the rest of them and give them a good education. But we really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm going to keep thanking you. I know it's not enough, but we'll keep thanking you for everything you do. I want to thank this board for what you do. It's not easy just sitting up here and making these tough decisions. Yeah, we're not going to always make the right ones, but we think we'll make the right ones, you know. So, thank y'all for everything you do. Mr. Steele, Mr. Buckman, for y'all carrying the torch for us in these meetings with the school board of supervisors. Like I said, just thank everybody that's involved with the school system. Appreciate everything you do.
I guess I'll just ask the public to continue to have patience with us, with teachers worrying about their safety, with parents being worried about whether their kids should be back full-time or not at all, with every person we have in this organization has their own personal life, their own history, that It turned them into the person that they are, and that's what makes this county so great. I think you can see the diversity on our board, that it represents every part of the county, and that's the way it should work. Mark's super passionate about teachers. He was in the building with them for years and years and became one of them. And he brings us that perspective, and it's passionate and it's real, and we certainly take everything he says to heart, and that's information we need as an overall board to try to make the right decisions. And I think each one of us bring a different piece to the table, and none of us are all right and none of us are all wrong, but we're really doing the best we can. We got a tremendous staff, and we all got kids in some part of the system, and we're watching them struggle one way or another. Whether it's a senior that's had their entire year taken from them, or a young kid just starting in our elementary school that's already put up against the wall and starting from behind. Everybody is feeling a lot of pain, and what I would ask for the community to do is just, let's begin the process of healing. I know that sounds corny, but I mean, we're there. We have endured since March 13th a terrible thing we have no control over, and it will not break us. It will not. We will stand united in this county and this school system. We will come out of it. But through finding our way, we cannot make enemies or burn bridges that keep us from being strong when we come out of it. So we're going to show you as a board that we can do that. We're going to be the leaders that you need to show you that you can do it too. So when you get ready to say something you think is going to be a good hurt for somebody on Facebook, or you think you can get them really good, maybe think of something good you can say to them and tell them something that they've done a good job of, and that becomes pretty infectious. So we're going to do the best we can to get these kids back. We're going to keep listening to everybody that voted us in, but we got to support each other. We got to move forward, and we got to be positive and get back going just as quick as we can. So just continue to ask for your patience and support. All yours, Dr. RBS.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just some information. Enrollment as of yesterday, January 20th, our enrollment was 2,236. That's a decrease of 5 from December 18th. And we currently have 605 full-time virtual students. And that probably will change as we move forward this week and through next week as well. Keep in mind also the ADM number we used for this year was 2265, so that's 29 lower. So just keep that in mind. I need to ask the board, as we've talked about, we anticipate as we move forward from this year into next year that we will need to continue to have some virtual aspect available. We have, as we've shared with you, besides talking at a regional level, Region 7 level about a virtual academy, we've also been in conversations with K-12 Virginia Virtual. So we're looking at 2 different avenues possibly for a virtual piece to assist moving into next year. With that being said, last month you approved the agreement for us to be part of the Region 7 Virtual Academy. So I need to ask the board to appoint a board member to be part of that Virtual Academy board to represent Giles County during those board meetings. Granted, it may be a short-lived board if the Virginia Virtual K-12 piece materializes. This Region 7 won't meet but one time probably, or 1 or 2 times. but I need to ask the board to, appoint somebody at this time. Because their first meeting is next Thursday at 6:30. And I will submit whoever's name it is and give that to them, and you'll be contacted, and you'll receive a link to do it virtually.
Is that, I'm assuming that'll be in virtual status for quite some time.
Yes.
Where would those meetings occur? Is there a central?
Well, to be honest with you, we've not talked about having a central meeting because it's going to be virtual. And again, if we continue to move forward as we think with the K-12 Virginia virtual, there won't need to be in-person meetings for this group.
Right. Anybody feel especially passionate about that endeavor?
I've already got conflicts with another board meeting that I've got.
I understand.
Next Thursday, so.
I'm pretty interested in how it's gonna fan out and how that's gonna impact their overall.
Would you like us to nominate you?
Nominate Mr.
That's a
Steele.
lot of I think with
My computer don't work that good.
I think with what you guys entrust me with as chairman, sometimes some of that comes responsibility for other things, so I'll take that on if everybody feels that's, if I need to get nominated.
I thought I heard the nomination down here.
Okay, that went pretty fast. Yeah, just send me the link, Dr. Harper.
I'll submit your name and you'll get an email, and I'll let you know. I've got actually got the agenda here that I'll give you a copy of.
Can we, and for future meetings, I'm sure the public will be interested as well, we can have a line item on there so that I could update
Yeah, well,
the board and those listening on how those meetings are moving forward.
yeah, we'll add a virtual academy piece on there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. Yes, we do, I think.
Need a motion, approve the nomination of,
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion and a second. Just need to vote.
all those in favor?
Thank you. Another conversation that we need to have is that the one that we've started regarding facilities, particularly Nares Elementary, Middle School, and the boilers. If the goal is to have any type of work done this year, particularly over the summer, we need to start having conversations with an architectural firm probably last week. So we need to have that conversation to see who you're comfortable with us working, and I can share my viewpoint if you would like, but we need to have that conversation.
Did you talk to?
I did.
Okay.
I talked to them earlier. The thought is there is an architectural firm that has done quite a bit of legwork already on that project. And it would make sense to work with that architectural firm since they have done what work they have done already on Nares Elementary School and the boilers. And that's T&L that's done that work, just to make sure everybody understands who we're talking about.
How can we not do this now? We can't postpone it any longer.
No, if we want to do something, have something, and again, I won't know until we start that conversation with them whether we are too far along to get the whole thing done this summer. It may be a piece of it this summer. But we've got to get design work and bids and all that. We got to get all that stuff taken care of. So as long as you're comfortable with that, we'll start that conversation. But I needed to make sure that you were comfortable with us working with that talked with that group?
I think that's, hopefully their involvement at this point will accelerate their ability to get moving. My assumption is that at this point we would officially request a scope of services and fee for them under the current term agreement that we have with them, as well as the other firms, for staff to review and provide recommendation to us for approval. Because that's going to come with an appropriation of funds to cover that engineering cost as well, I would assume, Dr. Argas. Am I correct?
I would, yes, sir, I would assume so. And again, I'll remind everybody, we have from the, make sure I quoted right, the 18-19 carryover, we had $160,000 allocated out of that carryover for the boilers at Nares Elementary. And I know we've talked about other work along with the boilers there in our conversations at the facilities committee work sessions. And I believe that the conversation continued that we could possibly use some of the carryover money from this past 19-20 school year to help with funding some of that as well.
And by that, you're talking about the entire, I guess we're looking at, there's a difference of estimate, but that 1.1 and the 1.4, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. I think we've got to, if we're getting into that, and that's, I mean, we're kicking the can down the road if we just do the boiler, and we've got a lot to bite off.
So
you're
if you-
just asking us if we're okay with.
If you're all right with that,
Asking T&L for a.
I'll start the conversation tomorrow with John, and we'll get on the hook with on the line with T&L and ask them to start getting us a scope of services and fees for this project, so we can, at least I can share it with you, so we can at least get moving forward.
And if we need back quickly on something, just let us know so that we can get a vote.
So just so the rest of the board knows, when we get into all this CIP work, and if I'm telling you something you already know, then I apologize, but this is kind of what I do day in and day out. So right now we have several firms under a term contract for 5 years that we can ask for a scope and a fee to do things like this. Pre-qualified, what they're able to do, and each time we have an activity like this, Dr. Arbogast will come to us and say, which of the firms do you think are most qualified to ask for a scope and a fee? We can't ask every one of them because we can't put them against each other. So once we pick the firm we think is most qualified and they give us a scope and a fee, if we feel like their scope is within our budget and works, then we go with it. If their fee is something that we're not happy with, then we can tell Dr. Arbogast to terminate the negotiation with them, and he can go to the next one in line. But once we do that, he cannot go back to that firm that he asked first. And if we don't like the second one, we can terminate with that one, we can go to the next, but you can't go back. So essentially it's following the Virginia Procurement Act, and we're doing that to the letter right now. But yeah, if you need us to, if you get a good number, Dr. Arbogast, and they're ready to rock and roll, and you want to get confirmation from us,
Yes,
turn it loose and put a signature on.
Yeah, I'll have a conversation first thing in the morning with both of them, and John, and then we'll try to get this moving forward as quickly as we can. Something else that we talked about, I believe, at one of our facilities committee work sessions was the ag shop building at Nares High School, the unit on top of there. That has not been repaired yet. It has not been replaced yet, but it needs to, because it's not working. We don't have heat in that facility. I've talked to John Ross. He's talked to Bobby. Maintenance feels that they can take care of that and they can replace that unit. The cost is going to be approximately, I would say, just to give ourselves a little bit of a wiggle room, I'm going to say it's going to be about $11,000 or so for our maintenance guys to do it. If we have a contractor come in, it's gonna be about $16,600, somewhere, 17, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it's about a $5,000 savings having our guys do it. That could be utilized somewhere else. So I just wanted you all to know that we need to move forward with it and we need to get it done. So I'm gonna tell them tomorrow, unless you I hear otherwise, please get this work done so we can get it started and get it done.
Most definitely.
How much longer until we know about the potential additional CARES Act or CRF funding?
We received, I've got that here too.
I don't want to jump around. I was just curious, because I thought I remember you saying that some of that was going to be directed towards qualification to improve. We
were notified last, about a week and a half ago, that we will be receiving a second round of CARES money, ESSER money. ESSER 2 is what they're calling it, in the amount of $1.6 million, or just over $1.6 million. That can be used for, as you said, it can be used for school facility repairs and improvements to enable operations of schools to reduce risk of virus transmission and exposure to environmental health hazards and to support student health needs. Inspection, testing, maintenance, repair, replacement, and upgrade projects to improve the indoor air quality in school facilities, including mechanical and non-mechanical heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems, filtering, purification, and other air cleaning fans, control systems, and window and door repair and replacement, as well as other things. But that's what you were asking about.
So we could possibly use that for some of these, okay?
Yes, I guess we're still getting guidance. You're getting guidance every day on that.
Yeah.
Kind of like the CRF.
Yeah, but we know we're gonna have, we just have there's an application, and I'm not seeing the application that we've got, one-page application that we got to do to complete yet.
Okay.
What's the deadline to spend those funds?
That deadline for that money is September of, I think it's September of 23. I don't see it listed here. I've got it written down. I think it's September of 2023, because the first CARES is 2022. So this was another year. This was a year after. So if you're comfortable with that, I will tell them to proceed and move forward with the lowest bid for the materials and equipment. All right. Before I forget, and probably should have done this first thing, I want to take the opportunity, and we've talked amongst a couple of us. I want to thank Christy Williams and her staff at the hospital for working with us and helping us get the vaccines for our staff members back on January 8th. And that was greatly appreciated for them to help us get that first dose for our staff. And we're looking at the second dose, hopefully February 5th, from 9 to 2 that day for our staff. So that, again, we appreciate the great working relationship we have with the hospital and their assistance in that process. Another conversation we had about Eastern Elementary Middle School. If you recall, there was some work done on a wall there over Christmas break. We discussed, and as long as you're still comfortable with it, us using, again, the unallocated portion of the carryover from 18-19 to cover that cost. We have I think it was about $45,000 from that 18-19 carryover that we did not allocate for anything. So if you're still comfortable with that, I was going to email Mr. McClarney tomorrow to let him know that we would like to request the use of that carryover money to cover the cost of the wall renovation, which was actually came in less than what we thought, $38,500, and then there's some testing that had to be done on the concrete and that sort of stuff for $3,400. So I would request that total out of that, as long as you're still comfortable with that.
Do you need a motion on that?
I would probably be wise, I would think, because since I'm gonna request funding it,
All right, I move that we request that Dr. Arbogast request allocation of the 2018-2019 unallocated carryover to cover the repair cost to Eastern Elementary, both the repair and the testing.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
thank you. You asked me, to check on at a work session about covering the, officiating costs out of CARES money. And what I received back again was that covering officiating costs due to the loss of revenue is not an allowable expense, as I shared with you. Yeah. So I just want to make sure I shared that with you again. Conversation we need to have, school board, the school board retreat in February. Historically, it has been 2 days. We request information from our administrators. That information is submitted to you. The first day of the retreat normally has been, up until last year, has been principals would come, meet with the board, share information. You would ask the principal any questions you had about their school, facility, et cetera, whatever. And then we'd move to the next school. That was the first day. Second day was the central office staff, special ed, cafeteria, Ms. Mustang, myself, during the second day, and then we'd move into a board meeting. Last year, you were provided the same information and discussed. You would meet with administrators if you had questions that you wanted to bring them in to talk about. So we need to kind of have direction from you how you would like to see that proceed again this year.
I like to rename it because there's nothing retreat.
No, there is no retreat about it, I agree.
I think Melissa made that comment in her first year.
We call it the depression session. Because we took sorry, we want this, but we can't give it to you.
And I think we need to take time individually and read through the information that's put together and then provide questions, if any, to follow up. And, I mean, Dr. Arbogast, I mean, you could probably be the moderator and figure out who could answer each question and reach out to the appropriate administrator who could give us an answer. And I mean, I liked I thought getting together with them and giving them a chance to speak directly with us was something that would be advantageous for them. But there's no free minutes in the day.
Right.
So we certainly do not want to add to not having them have as much free time to do what they need to do for the kids. So that's totally okay with me.
But right now, they've been told that they've been asked to hold the days until we know what you all would like to do.
I kind of think of any year, if we need to hear from people in person, it's this year. I mean, I see the value. I know it's a long, arduous process, but I've always seen the value in it because it's one of the few times that everybody that really kind of runs things around here gets the opportunity to talk to all five of us at one time.
I feel like you'd have to do it on a day, like the kids weren't in the building, you'd have to use like a Friday. And I don't know.
And that's probably, if you want to do that,
If you do
for the
that,
building administrators, we can move that first one from Thursday, whatever the first Thursday was, till that Friday.
I just think it's hard to take them out of the building when they have kids.
The next one, the following Friday or.
Do they want to have face-to-face with us? I mean, I think
I've not asked them.
the challenge we had last time, I think, we kicked around making it optional. And then you appropriately told us you can't do that because as soon as one of them find out that one came, they're all going to feel like they have.
They're all going to feel, yeah.
No matter how much we say till we're blue in the face,
I know that, like I said, it's a drag for both sides, but at the same time, you know,
Do you think since we didn't do it last year, that we might not do it this year? What do you think?
I mean, it may be of benefit, again, I'm not talking to them, it may be a benefit for you to hear. I know you've heard from us. And I know you probably talked to individual, but it may be beneficial for you to hear from each one of them the challenges they have faced this year.
If we can do it without impeding their ability to run the buildings, I think it'd be great to hear from them, but.
I mean, you think about it as a board, you know, it's a couple times a year, budget meeting,
We can
and
move
this
it.
time.
We could do it Friday.
They get an opportunity to speak to us all together.
The first one, the second one was just.
The second
people
was
here,
just, and so the first one we could do, I think, and we could possibly, if you're comfortable with it, move the 11th to the 12th. That would be no kids in the building on that Friday. Principals could come here with the schedule. We've already got a tentative schedule. And then the next Thursday it's us here. Paula, Christy, Ms. Mustang, myself, Jessica, Jesse. So we could do it Thursday. That way you're only coming out the same day we have a board meeting.
Okay.
If you're comfortable with that. So we'll make sure we get the information and we'll set the schedule up the 12th and the 18th. February 12th and February 18th. If that's comfortable with y'all. Okay. All right, let's see. That, talked all about that. We have done that. You received a copy of a scholarship. See you, Madison. Thank you for coming this evening. Take care. Thank you. You received a copy of a scholarship that we would like to at least provide the opportunity for students to have the ability to complete if they qualify. It's the Future of STEM Scholars Initiative, FOSSI. So that at this time, I ask the board to approve so that the seniors have the ability to take advantage of this if they so choose.
I make the motion that we approve making that scholarship open.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? I'm assuming you look through this, it meets all of our scholarship requirements, Dr. Urban.
And this came from, this was forwarded to me from Celanese, I believe.
Okay, all those in favor?
Two last things. One, I'm gonna forward you, I received today, from our GEA president, Ms. Wright, the 2021 salary study for teachers from BEA, gives the benchmarks and the rankings for the state, for all divisions. I know she's probably gonna share that with you, but
She has.
okay. I didn't know if she sent it to you yet or not, so if she hadn't, I was gonna get it forwarded to you, but if you've got it, then that's fine. Next thing we need to talk about is we had a request from the Board of Supervisors to alter our monthly appropriation request that we submit to them. So I wanted to at least have that conversation now so that you all can share any feedback that you have so we can move forward. Currently, as you know, and you approved it this evening, we take the total that we're allocated for the year and divide it by 12. That's what we're submitting. So I think, if you're all right with it, and Mr. Steele, you may have some other thoughts. If you're all right with it, at our monthly meeting that we have with our two representatives, school board representatives and the two board of supervisors representatives and Mr. McClarney, if we discuss it a little bit further to find out exactly what they're looking for, how they would like it altered, I think that would be a better, at least a way to start moving forward, to see what they want and how we can meet the needs that they're requesting.
I think it's reasonable, and I think the overall drive behind this, just so those in attendance are better informed. Everybody in the government across the nation and the world are bracing themselves for what they consider to be probably one of the toughest economic times that we've had in front of us. And our county is no different. So the leaders at our county are making sure they have every tool available to them to understand where there may be some opportunity to shift budgets around and keep providing services to us as the best that they can. So we are over 50% of the county's total expenses, and we're a big engine. We require a lot of money from them. So what we draw from the county every month is a big ticket item, and I think everybody just wants to know where we have room to move some stuff around and be 100% certain what they're gonna have to give to us to make sure our kids can get an education. So I think we continue to work with them on that. I think we had a pretty good meeting talking about how our drawdowns each month are the same, but the expenses we have move depending on what big ticket items hit. So we'll sit down with them at our next joint meeting and talk about how they can better be informed and just make sure we're all on the same page.
I would assume, just so that would be February 3rd, but I'll verify that with him. Because that's their normal their first Wednesday of the month, Board of Supervisors meeting, but I will verify that date, and get a time.
And just to add to that, Dr. Arguez, on behalf of this board, we certainly appreciate Board of Supervisors' support. They depend on us a lot to give them big money requests on a regular, and they trust that we're doing a good job down here, really digging into the details before we ask for those big checks. So we appreciate their continued trust in us and open for communication type attitude. So it's important that we both work together.
Correct.
We're working hard to do that.
Something else I just thought about, I got one other thing after this too. The updated CIP, I forwarded that to you yesterday or the day before, I forget what day. So we kind of need to talk about how you want to, I'm assuming you want to get together again, the committee, facilities committee, maybe with Josh, maybe with John, and John. I mean, so I wanted to.
I think we need to set that up, but I'd like to talk with John Ross just to see if he's gotten answers on that HVAC issue. And then, I think the next step is if we're going to move this forward, because this has been a good process, but we've got to get this drilled down on that, whether it's component replacement or whole system replacement. And if Josh, if that's beyond the scope, or if that's something that Josh needs somebody else there, if we need to do a Zoom call, because every mile he drives and every hour he takes reduces their margin on this thing, and their business. But I also, before we can move forward, I think those are the biggest ticket items, and we've got to understand exactly what we're looking at.
So do you want a meeting, just the work session with the five of you, John, and John, to have a conversation on what's there first, and then schedule something with Josh, or you want Josh on a Zoom as well available?
But let's go ahead and start setting that up, and we can talk with John Ross, reach out to him, he's available.
If it's Zoom, I think it would be helpful to have Josh available, because if we get to a point where we can't answer a question, then the meeting is probably going to come to a stop. a Zoom keeps him from coming all the way from Charlottesville, and that travel time, he can multitask. I don't care if he's working on something else while we're talking about our stuff, as long as he's available for us to bounce something off of him, that'll make sure our meeting is
Productive.
productive as it can be.
I'll check with, I'm assuming we want to have it within the next week or so. So I'll check with John to see when they're available in the next week, 2 weeks, and then shoot y'all an email to kind of finalize. And then with him. I don't know if you saw here recently, VSBA sent out the 2021 VSBA Business Honor Roll. They're now accepting nominations. So I didn't know if there was anybody that the board felt that we should nominate for this upcoming honor roll.
I know we've done Corellian before, but
I would think that we should still, considering the work that they did with us for the first round of vaccine and the second round.
And maybe the health department, River Health District.
Can we put Dr. Bissell and?
I think that'd be worthwhile as well, because I mean, that's, we burnt the phones up and they burnt the phones back to us, so.
Well, I'm not certain anybody would ever take full responsibility, but there's a reason their teachers got vaccines in this part of the country before anybody else too. So much appreciated for their support of us in this part of the world.
They're good.
Anybody else? It's a pretty good way for us to tell people we appreciate it.
I don't think we have.
You got anybody in my state that you can think of?
Motion to most appropriate.
And Designee has helped us out with projects as well, but they may have been on that last one, I'm not sure.
Yeah, great, this is really helps with
Yeah.
these shots and these blood.
That's all I have, I believe. I think I've gone through everything.
All right, Mr. Wood.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second, all those in favor? We are adjourned.